Welcome to the next segment of our video series, The Top 10 Planning Mistakes That Will Keep You From Retiring Well and What You Can Do About Them. I'm RJ Kelly. I'm founder and Chief Visionary Officer of Wealth Legacy Group and the Wealth Legacy family of companies, and I'm delighted that you've joined us. The series on retirement planning and why most Americans simply will not be able to retire well unless they make some major changes comes from over 30 years of my helping clients as a fee-based, independent registered investment advisor, a chartered financial consultant, and a retirement income certified professional. And Wealth Legacy Group is a multidisciplinary holistic firm that can address the numerous planning needs and challenges, not just retirement planning, but I invite you to check out our website at wealthlegacygroup.com for more. I'll give you some further contact information at the end of this video. And because of this multidisciplinary point of view, we can help you understand things and plan an integrated plan that often includes the missing link of philanthropy and legacy into the legal and tax and financial. Now, this unique perspective has been forged over decades of experience as a comprehensive estate, business succession, exit planning, investment, insurance, asset protection, retirement, and legacy planning firm. It's great to have you with us, and I want to invite you to also keep a pen and a notepad with you as you watch this series and this video now. What applies to you and your situation? Jot it down so you won't forget it, and just ask yourself, gee, what's RJ talking about, and what does this apply to my own situation? Now, in the last segment, I shared about some of the biggest areas of what I call friction retirees are experiencing, and that's the dangers of ignoring the impact of taxes on their retirement income, ignoring or not understanding inflation. Now, again, right now it's under 2%, but how long is it going to stay there? And according to the Fidelity Retiree Healthcare Cost Estimate, that's a mouthful, trust me, an average retirement or average couple at retirement at age 65 in 2018 will need approximately $280,000 saved. Now again, that's after tax, to cover healthcare expenses in retirement. That estimate, calculated by Fidelity Investments, has jumped 75% since the company first began their estimating in 2002. At that point, it was $160,000. Now it's $280,000. The figure includes life expectancies for the couple and also includes Medicare coverage and copays, vision, over-the-counter medications, and dentures. Make sure you get the dentures in there. Now, if that isn't bad enough, that $280,000 estimate of after-tax expense money that's needed does not include the cost of long-term care. An American turning 65 today has a 70% chance of needing some type of long-term care assistance which supports the daily living tasks such as eating, bathing, going to the restroom, and so forth. There's 6 of them in all, what we call activities of daily living. According to the 2018 U.S. Department of Health and Human Services report, that care doesn't come cheap. The national average cost for long-term care in the U.S. in 2016 was just under $7,000 a month, and that's just for a semi-private room in a nursing home. It's nearly $8,000 a month for a private room, and even a simple assisted living facility will cost almost $4,000 a month for care. And I can tell you in San Diego, it's a whole lot more for all of this. So it does depend on where you live. Nationally, it's $20 an hour for a health aide, it's $68 a day to go to an adult health care service. And this is coming from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So again, it's changing and going up. It's not going down. Now, there's a joke that retirement is bad for your health. Now, whether that's true or not, I can tell you that retirement is certainly bad for your financial health. That is, if you're unprepared for it. So, moving on. At the risk of being called Downer Dave, in this segment, I need to raise what will be for some an unpopular subject. I know that some of you watching are going to be maybe a little upset with me, particularly certain ethnicities that believe in just doing anything you can for your kids. And likely there's going to be a few moms and dads in our viewing audience that will strongly disagree with me, and that's fine. I just need to bring it to your attention. These thoughts might also start a fight or two, so if that's the case, please don't hate me, but promise me that you're going to think about what I'm going to say, and there is a middle ground to this all. So what am I talking about? In this segment, we really need to speak frankly about the retirement friction that comes from not putting your own needs first. Or as I heard a pastor once put it, we have to learn at times to be sensibly selfish. From the research of retirees who express what they wish that they had known or planned about ahead of time, and it's too late for them. They're retired and they can't unring the bell. This friction comes from being overly committed to helping others first. By others, I mean family and friends, and most specifically, children or grandchildren. Spending money on them that you really need to be setting aside for future delivery to yourself. Now, at this stage in my life as a dad and an uncle, and there's almost nothing that we wouldn't do for our kids. I get that, and certain other family members. Unfortunately, just as entering retirement with too much debt from a home, as we talked about in an earlier video, that can hamstring an individual or couple in retirement. So too can retirement funds be inadequate because the parents spent or are spending too much on their children's education or cars or homes or weddings and vacations and so forth. Now, I'm reminded of something my wife likes to say as a reminder to me to keep things in balance. Occasionally I'm known to give away a little bit too much money to charitable causes. So, honey, she'll start out, remember, the best thing we can do for the poor is not to be one of them. That's great wisdom in that saying. And the same thinking applies to our kids. Now, let me say something that may be shocking to some of you watching this. Your kids don't have to attend the best college. And they most certainly do not have to have you pay for it, as lovely as that might be. Some of you watching this right now are wrestling with a difficult choice. Either being able to retire adequately someday, or being able to help your kids pay for their education, but then not being able to retire at the level of income you wanted or needed, or maybe you'll have to wait for another 4 or 5 or 6 years before you retire. So here's the truth. Your kids can find a way to go to college without you paying for it. Or they can attend 2 years in one of the increasingly good community colleges and then transfer for their last 2 years to a university. And it's commonly said that the best thing you can give your kids is a quality education. And I get that. We certainly understand that and applaud that. We're helping to pay for our niece's education, for example, because we firmly believe in the importance of a quality education. But I would, however, offer you a corollary to that statement. And that's that the best thing you can give your kids are parents that can come to visit, but don't need to stay. The same thinking also applies to children's weddings and buying them cars, etc. Recently, a client of ours told us that they were able to keep their daughter's wedding to only $75,000 instead of $250,000. Whew. And this is from a family that's doing well, but that's still a lot of money. Would a $25,000 wedding have been any less wonderful? And that extra $50,000 could be accumulating to another $200,000 or $250,000 in the next 20 years or less. So I would encourage any of you that are in the process of making these decisions right now, let's first take a look at how much you're funding for your retirement. Get very clear on what we call the 4 how questions. We discussed in an earlier video. They are, again, how much? How much are you going to need? How soon are you going to need that? How many different buckets, how many sources of income are you going to be having that will be providing that income that you need? And then the tricky one is, how long are you going to need it? And again, remember, life expectancies are getting dramatically longer, and you're going to be living a whole lot longer than you might imagine. You need to measure your projected retirement income against the money you've set aside and will be setting aside going forward. Remember, though, 42% of Americans were forced to retire before they wanted to because of various reasons. They didn't get the chance to set as much money aside as they wanted to, and they had a reduced retirement benefit as a result. So one of the fallacies is, don't think that you can keep working as long as you want to. 42% of Americans didn't get that option. So plug in your numbers. If you need some help, call us at the 800 number that we'll be showing in a minute. And we can help you in that 20-minute free consultation to just look at your numbers, see if you have enough to retire, and can you also provide for your kids in their university. It may not be Harvard, it may be some state school or something else more affordable. The true reality, and I know I'm going to offend my friends from Stanford and USC and Harvard and so forth, but just because they went to those Ivy League schools or some of the top West Coast and Midwest schools, they're no better off attending there than another fine four-year university. I'll go toe-to-toe with them. I went to Washington State in Pullman, Washington. And the honors program there is one of the best in the country. I'm willing to go toe-to-toe, and it costs a whole lot less than going to some of the other fancy schools. And frankly, some of the fancy schools might even be worse given some of the radical socialist political agendas that are coming out from many of the professors and campuses today, but let's not go there. And if after you do your calculations, you'll be meeting the goals that you've set for you and your spouse, you and your partner, then you can spend that money. You can help your kids. You can help other members in your family or friends. And if you can't retire within the targeted parameters that you've set, then talk with your kids very, very frankly. Explain that there's only so much to go around and that you'll help as you can. But it's something that they'll have to take care of and provide for themselves. Now, there's nothing shameful about this. Many refugee families, such as my wife's, or immigrant families that have come to America, they came with nothing and yet have found a way to attend some of the finest universities and colleges in America. My wife worked at times 3 jobs as a single mother to provide for our boys, my stepsons. They're outstanding young men. They've both been at top universities, and they've learned at an early age that they needed to be resourceful, get good grades, and figure out how to attend college on their own. They not only do not resent their mom, they adore and respect her, as do all that know her. You must look out for yourself first. You have to be, again, sensibly selfish, because no one else is going to be looking out for you. Hopefully this has prompted more questions for you, although I think I might get some hate mail on this one too, but you can visit us on our website shown below for more information, or email us your questions at the email address that we're showing. And if you'd rather get some quicker answers to some of your questions, you can call us on our 800 number. We offer a 20-minute free consultation to discuss your unique situation. And let's talk about what you're concerned about, what you've got in place already, and where the gaps might be. I'll tell you candidly what I like about what you're doing and where I think maybe there's some areas of improvement that you could make and have it come out better. Regardless of your preference, don't put it off. Your financial future's at stake, and let's get it built on the most solid of footing. Now, to wrap up, in our next segment, we're going to be talking about investments and why most people are not getting the returns they need and deserve. What's volatility? We hear about it a lot in the news, and we've been seeing it, but what is it exactly, and why does it matter? What's something called sequence of returns risk, and more. So you won't want to miss this part. I'm really excited about that. We're going to get a little more technical, but I think you'll understand why this is so critically important for you to understand. And we'll be talking also about the importance of having some tax-free income, having that as one of your buckets, as well as having your 401k and IRA types of buckets as well. It's very important. So let's discuss the benefits and perils that could threaten your ability to retire when you want and in the comfortable manner that you and your spouse, partner wish to enjoy. I'm RJ Kelly. Let's get started planning for your ideal tomorrows today.